His name is K Ego.
Yo, he said his name. I said, I don't know what it sounds crazy. I said, what did he say? I said, oh, I got called K, bro.
Oh man,
what you doing?
Yeah,
word.
What's good,
So,
CJ?
Nothing much, man. Nothing much. Just finished working just about 5 minutes ago.
Okay.
When he gets off. He get off on time. I never get off. Like I work all the way through
Shit.
Yeah.
I work. So I'm up at 5 o'clock in the morning when you still in your third dream.
Welcome to Pit Stop Podcast. I'm your host, Kenny B. We got my man, Jay, every day. Jay Ruffin, what's up?
What to do?
We got the man, the myth, the legend, Daryl, Chill, Mitchell. What's
Y'all
good,
already know what it is, player.
Already know what it is. Hey, Jay, do me a favor, man. Tell them what we do here at the Pit Stop, man.
Oh man, this is where we shoot the shit, talk about everything except politics.
Here we go, my man. So today we got a good friend of ours, good business partner of Jay. Invite him to the show. Long time friend of ours, man. Known him since the early 2000s. Want to introduce, man, my man, Charlie Jones, CJ. You know, is what we call him. How you doing, man?
Good, man. Good. Glad to be here.
That's good, man. So today we are here to this is an uplifting podcast. We like to be informative, educational, and give some gems to our viewers, man. And today we're talking about real estate. I'm excited because this is something that we building generational wealth. Talks, and this is a conversation we're talking about. So I mean, everybody buying Gucci and all these designer stuff, but we got all this land right here in this country that we can buy and invest in ourselves and have our great grandchildren live off of the wealth that we build for our family, man.
Now, you know what they're not making no more of?
Land.
Land.
Yeah, man.
They trying to go to the moon. They trying to go
Mars. But you know what they're not making no more of on Earth?
What's that?
Land.
Okay, player.
Yep, and it's a lot of it to buy, man. So, hey, man, let's dive into it, man. Pause. But let's go ahead and dive into what got you into the real estate game.
So how I got into real estate was actually I was almost kind of forced into it, right? So oftentimes when you hear about people's entrepreneur stories.
Hold up, Chuck. Before you finish, man, introduce yourself, bro. We don't know what you do. You the founder.
Oh, I mean, I'm following the
yeah,
lead.
But I see a label down there that says the founder and CEO of Able. You know what I'm saying? You listen. You're a CEO, brother. You're a founder and CEO. So introduce that. You know what I'm saying?
So I am the founder and CEO of Able Capital. It's a real estate development firm named after my kids, Asher, Bolden, and Levi. We have dabbled into a lot of other industries, multiple streams of income. We have a property management division, real estate development division, and appraisal, starting a juice bar, a Peruvian chicken restaurant, and a nonprofit. We're doing nonprofit laundry services and junk hauling. So we got our hands in quite a bit.
Ooh, man. Hey, man. So, like I said before, the question that I asked originally, what got you into the real estate and what drew that passion, man? Like what sparked that dream for you, man, and where you at today?
Yeah, so it was a dream that evolved. It was sparked by adversity. I was in the state government in DC, and I was going to the federal government, and I got caught in the federal government freeze, where I couldn't go to the new job and I couldn't go back to my old job because DC government, was on a hiring freeze, and the federal government was on a hiring freeze. So I essentially lost my job without quitting or getting fired. And so I had to move out of my apartment, I was on my own, coming out of college, got a full-time job, got into my career, was living life. Was making money. I had low bills, but the minute I lost that job, it was one way out, one way straight out of my bank account.
Wow.
So I had to move out of my apartment where I had no curfew, unchecked freedom. Moved back in with my parents on a twin bed with some Dora sheets, with a 9 o'clock curfew. With a 9 o'clock curfew, I'm like 24, 25 years old, and I was afraid to buy a stick of gum because money was just going out the door, out my bank account, and I had no money coming in. So when you lose your 9 to 5, if you have one stream of income, you dead in the water. So I started having to sell off some of my liabilities. I had no assets, nothing bringing money in. So sitting on my bed, depression. I haven't taken a shower in, almost like 2 weeks. I haven't shaved, nothing. I haven't never left my room for like 2 weeks.
Stress.
Just stressed out, just depressed. I lost a lot of friends during that time, and I use air quotes, friends, because when you fall from grace, you really find out who your friends are.
Fall off a motorcycle and hit the ditch.
Right.
You'll find out who your friends are.
Right. You find out real quick who your friends are.
Oh boy.
And more people were concerned about what happened, how it happened, why it happened, as opposed to how I'm doing. Right. And James, he was one of them. Came out to see me. We hung out a couple times just to take my mind off of what happened. He didn't much care what happened. So I went from an entourage to, 2 or 3 friends in my circle. So I looked at it as, God was working on my life, on, my values, what was important to me, because I was laying my importance on all the wrong things, just drinking and cars and motorcycles, just a bunch of liabilities. My spending
he was a mini rock star. I'll say he was a mini rock star, man. Those were some good times though.
Those were great times. Those were great times. I had 2, 3 cars, 2 motorcycles at a time. Like, you can only ride one car, one motorcycle. I was just blowing money, buying the bar out, and horrible spending habits. So when all that got taken away from me, it didn't feel good. And then, I lost all my friends and lost all my money and lost my, the roof over my head, lost my freedom because now I had a curfew. So my whole life just changed. And I was just sitting on the bed, and I knew that I was blessed in one way, that I had my parents to fall back on, and I didn't have a family that depended on me. Right. So I didn't have to put food on the table. Right. I could go days without eating. I can go to my parents' pantry. I didn't have kids waiting for the meal. I didn't have a wife, waiting for money to pay the mortgage. I didn't have a mortgage to pay. So I said, all right, how to make money without going to work? Because I knew leading up to that, I had working part-time, overtime. I was grinding, but I had the energy to do it. Right. I was 21, 22, 23 years old, 24 years old. And I was working 10, 12 hours a day, and then partying all weekend.
30 minutes.
And but I knew I couldn't keep that up, right, as I got older. So I didn't want to add jobs to make more money. So I Googled how to make money without going to work. And a bunch of ideas came up, and real estate investing came up. And I started researching that. I was like, I think I can do this. Right? I didn't know much about it. Really didn't know anything about it. So I ran downstairs to my mom. I was like, hey, Mom, I figured it out. She was like, what? I was like, I'm going to start a real estate company. She was like, what you know about real estate? I was like, nothing, but I'm going to learn. Right? I'm a firm believer in you can learn anything you want. You can be a rocket scientist as long as you know what you don't know, right? Because if you know what you don't know, what can you do? Go find the answer. Yeah. Especially in this day and age, you got Google, you got YouTube, all that. But if you don't know the questions to ask, you're not going to find the answers. Right? So if you know what you don't know, so I didn't start learning real estate from the vantage point of about real estate. I started reading everything that I didn't know about real estate. And I legit just taught myself real estate. I was self-taught. During the first 4 hours of the day, I would read every blog, watch every YouTube video, and I'd write down in a notebook every term, every philosophy, every equation that I didn't know. And then the next 4 hours of the day, I went and researched every single bullet point on that paper. And then that very next morning, I would read the same things again, watch the same videos again. And then it started clicking. Because then I was watching for understanding. I was reading for understanding because then I understood what was being talked about. Then at that point, I was able to drown out the noise. Because a lot of people think when you say real estate investing, everyone thinks the sexy stuff, right? The fix and flip. Man.
Now hold that right there. Where you at, CJ? A lot of times, you know what I watch bad movies. So I learn what not to do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I'll go watch a bad movie. They be like, "Your movie ain't no good. I'm going to watch it."
Yep.
Because I'm not going to go keep watching just the sexy stuff.
Right.
Because now I'm a movie maker too. I'm a filmmaker. I'm an actor. So I need to watch what these other actors are doing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I watch a lot of Turner broadcasts, old black and whites.
Mm-hmm.
And I watch, and then you watch, it go from there. So continue. I'm just
there's so much value in doing that, right? You can't just think about one aspect of a career or an industry or a business, because there are parts of the other parts of the industry that play off or play into your lane, right? Exactly. So, not to go too far off on a tangent, the wholesaling, right? Wholesaling is when you pick up a property, you get a property under contract, and you play the middleman, right? Correct. And you sell it to someone like me from an investor. Say James is the seller, and Kenny will go to James, say, "Hey, I'll buy a property, I'll wholesale it," and then he brings it to me, puts a markup of like $10,000, right? I don't want to wholesale. I don't have time to wholesale. I don't find value in wholesaling. But I need to know about wholesaling because I need to know, generally speaking, how much Kenny marked my property up.
Smart.
Right? So I can negotiate because I know there's a range of where he marked my property up. Right.
Right.
So I know I started studying wholesaling, but I didn't want to go into wholesaling. So I was able to drown the noise out on my risk assessment on, okay, I can take that risk, or no, I can't take that risk, or other parts of real estate investing, like, oh, my pockets ain't deep enough for that, right? Mm-hmm. Like you get into note investing. Note investing is like your mortgage. A lot of people think when you pay your mortgage, you're paying, a big bank. 9 times out of 10, that might be the case if your mortgage is, Wells Fargo or something like that. But whole time, banks aren't in the industry of owning property or, having property.
Right.
So if I'm a note investor, I'll essentially, if you have a $200,000 home, I put up that $200,000 and you're paying me, but you're using a mortgage processing company, because by law, you can't pay me directly. You have to use a mortgage processing company.
Okay.
So I was like, at that time, I was like, I ain't got the money for that. Mm-hmm. So I settled on buy and hold, where I could, fix the property up, rent it out, and the risk was a lot lower, because on fix and flip, if you mess up on fix and flip, you're dead in the water. You've lost your money. There's no way to recoup that money because you done sold the property. But on buy and hold, if I mess up, I might go from a 2-year ROI to a 4-year ROI.
So before, let me stop you real quick. I know what ROI is, but just let our viewers know what ROI is.
Yeah, return on investment.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I might go from a 2-year where I underwrote the deal as a 2-year ROI, but I messed up somehow. I didn't, I got cheated by my contractor, or I, miscalculated the materials cost, or I bought it wrong. And now it's a 4-year ROI. I'm still getting my money back. It's just going to take me a little longer, right?
Gotcha.
On fix and flip, if you mess up on the fix and flip, you done lost that money. You ain't getting it back. So I ended up settling on buy and hold, and that's how I end up, buying my first property. And I tell people all the time that you can only learn how to play basketball so much by reading a book.
Gotta play.
How to play basketball by getting out there and playing.
So you just jumped in the water.
Just jumped in the water. At that point, I felt like I had read everything on the internet, read everything on, watched everything on YouTube. At that point, it was shit or get off the pot.
So did you jump in the deep end, or you jumped in where you still could feel your feet on the ground?
No, I could still feel my feet on the ground. It was, lipstick on a pig, something where it was just cosmetic rehab.
Gotcha.
Not too much. It was probably a $20,000 rehab.
See, that's where I'm wrong. That's where I go wrong, CJ, because I'm 7'11". Get him, girl. Hit him, girl. That's me, bro. I'm going hard. Yo, let me tell you something. Real talk. I was in Manhattan last week, and all I kept doing was looking up. And I'm looking around, and I'm in there because my aunt, God bless her, she doing all right. And I'm just like, yo, I'm looking. I'm like, yo, I'm getting one of these buildings, bro.
Yeah.
I mean that.
Yeah.
I said, yo, I'm watching the money. I'm not looking at. I'm from New York. I'm looking around now. I'm like, yo, dude. These dudes telling me that they had where the condo I'm at. I bought a condo on 100 up in Harlem. Yo, bro, they was like, these people was giving away the whole building, and nobody bought it. Now they came in there and did the whole gentrification. Mm-hmm. Oh, bro, yo, and the same cats still live in the block.
But see,
wow.
So, and I speak a lot of in analogies. But to buy something like that, you have to have the foundational blocks, right? Because if you don't have the foundational blocks, you're going to squander it when you get it, because you don't understand the basics of real estate, right? So what my philosophy was getting in, and my philosophy to this day, is I just need to hit base hits, right? I might get lucky and hit a double, right? But I got into this game when I was 25 years old, so I can play the long game. I didn't have to hit home runs. I didn't have to swing for the fences, because if I struck out one time early on, I'd be done.
That's what I was going. Again, I got into the industry to do a rap song because I just wanted to be a rapper. I went from a rap song to doing movies with Denzel Washington. Yeah. So I know the parameters of what can happen. Yeah. I respect that the base hit thing because that's all I did. That's all I did. Yeah. So I'm feeling you, bro. Come on, I'm with you.
Hey, those base hits put you in those rooms.
In the rooms, man.
You end up hitting doubles and triples.
So for a person that's just getting into the and looking to get into, and after I'm going back to the point where you looked at those videos, YouTube videos, and you got the education, and then you wanted to go, get involved into this game. Out of all the information that you assume over a long period of time, what are some of the things that a person need to do trying to hit that first base hit, trying to get on first base?
First, like I said, start out by being able to understand how to drown the noise out of real estate investing, and actually conducting your own risk assessment on yourself, right? Because I'll say, I'll start speaking about real estate and I'll talk about all the returns, right? And they're like, oh yeah, I need that. Like, how can we start? Like, slow down. Yeah. You're not ready for that. Right?
No, you're not ready for that.
Hey, you jump into that water, you're going to be stressed beyond belief. You don't have the foundational pieces, right? So you're going to get extremely worried, scared about your money. You're going to be worrying me, and I'm not having that, right? So understand your risk tolerance. Right?
Yes.
With risk comes reward. With less risk comes less reward. Right? So find out where you are in that risk continuum before you jump in, and understand the type of real estate investing you want to get into.
And isn't it something? Because I'm kind of, when you're talking, I'm kind of relating it to the industry I'm in. Like, I'm not going to go bid on a $500 million contract because there's a lot of requirements with that. But the lesser contract, I took those $250,000 contracts I bid on, those $500,000 contracts I bid on, is less reward, but you more rich in lessons learned. So you learn from your mistakes on a more of a smaller scale, less risk. So it kind of prepares you and elevates you to hit that home run at some point.
Hey, let me tell you something. One of the best lessons in life is when you lose money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you, when you lose money, you be like, oh, I ain't doing that again.
Absolutely.
So when you start making those, making sure your mistakes are small, it stings, but you won't make that same mistake. So I'll give you a prime example. My first property, I bought it wrong in the grand scheme of things, but I made, I think, $300 net profit a month. Right. By my fifth property, I was turning $1,000 net profit. I just kept getting better and better and better at it. I wasn't swinging for the fences. Like, I understand how people watch HGTV and they want to do these big deals. You don't need to. Just start small and take, bite-sized chunks at it. Eventually, by your fourth or fifth property, you'll get it.
Plus, those HGTVs got sponsors. That's putting money. That's a machine behind it. So, of course, it's not just their money that's going to waste or going into these turnovers and these restorations and these fix and flips.
Right.
Speaking of that, I know we're talking about properties. So what do you deal with? Do you deal with commercial properties and residential properties, or you just deal one or the other?
So I deal with right now residential and mixed use commercial. So mixed use commercial will have a commercial component on the ground floor, like a storefront on the ground floor. Yep. And then apartments upstairs. Especially in the market today, lenders are shying away from the fully commercial properties.
Why is that?
Because look at the market right now, right? Bed Bath and Beyond went out of business.
Yeah,
right?
they did.
You see all those big box stores going out of business.
Right. Yeah.
A lot of stuff is going online.
Okay.
Right? So a lot of lenders are shying away from those fully commercial kind of deals. So I always kind of mitigate my risk, and when I invest, so even in the mixed use commercial buildings, the commercial storefront is a business that I own.
Okay.
Right? Because if shit get hairy, I gotta talk to my landlord. Who am I talking to?
Yourself.
I'm talking to me. Like, hey, bro, I ain't got it this month.
Hey, yo, CJ. Now, if you say, yo, bro, I ain't got it this month, and you say you got 30 days, you better go check. Go to the hospital. Go to emergency and say, yo, I asked myself a question and I got an answer. Go to the emergency room.
Yeah.
I ain't got it, bro. You got 30 days. Be like, oh, it's time to go.
Right. That's how I mitigate my risk. Right. So I'll start a company, and oftentimes it's an industry that is tried and proven. Again, I'm not trying to recreate the wheel. I'm not trying to create the next Facebook. Like, I'll go to industries that are tried and proven. I'll mess around. Hey, salon suites. Boom. Put a salon suite in there. Hey, a barbershop. Boom. Put a barbershop in there. Industries that I know, no matter what,
stuff like
proof,
that.
yeah, they're going to make money. They may not make a killing, but I don't need to make a killing. I got, different streams of income. All of them add up. I'm good.
Now, coming from people that look like us, like, and we invest in money. Like, I'm kind of related to like the record business. Like, and Chill, you probably know more about the record business than me, but I do know, like, when you put out an album, right, you're not getting funds, right? You're not getting paid from that right away. You probably won't get, you won't see a return on it until probably a year down the road. You know, when the record labels get their cut and they do their percentages and all that stuff, then they give you your cut, and that's gonna be like a year down the road. So a person that's newly into the game and they take that first base hit, when should they expect
the reg comes different? They keep you in debt.
They keep you okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that I don't know if that's a good analogy because if I do a deal with them and it's 3 record deal, but they got an option to bring you in for another certain amount of, you got to sign options.
Gotcha.
So then once you selling, you done recoup that, but you still ain't now they done sold so many records and they give you this much, but now you got to do some more records. You always in debt with a record company.
So you're a slave. So you're a slave to the.
Always they set it up that way.
Okay.
They was gangster with that, bro.
I knew where Kenny was going though. CJ, he was trying to.
I just wanted
because correct me because I don't know. Yeah.
That's why
I already knew that. That's why they was talking about them 360 deals being crazy.
Yeah. They have to do it now. They have to.
Yeah.
So I know where Kenny was going though. I believe Kenny was going to like, when can you expect a return on your investment? Is it depending on how you purchase, what you purchase, where you purchase, all those things? What's the factors of that?
Is that exactly what you were saying, Kenny? Because I don't trust
Yeah.
Jay'll make shit up right on.
He real good.
Then he'll put his voice deep so he sound like he know what he's talking about. Kenny, what I was saying. Pause, Jay, pause.
Hey, Chill, watch this though. Chill, watch this. Hey, Kenny, is that what you was referring to?
I'm not getting into this, but CJ, go ahead.
I'm his cousin, dog. He ain't gonna walk sideways on me, bro.
I know.
So there's in the lane that I'm in, there's a cash flow market and there's an appreciation market, right? The unicorn is if you find both in the same market. You're not going to find cash flow and appreciation in the same market, right? So I play differently in the cash flow market versus differently in the appreciation market.
And what you mean by appreciation market?
Appreciation is like we were talking about with gentrification, right? You buy in a location that is the hood, and then over several years it gentrifies, and now
it's aging like fine wine.
Yeah, you've made 200,000 on your asset, right?
Because they cleaned up the neighborhood,
right? So
that's like half Southeast,
right? And that's what I was about to say. So one of my properties is in Southeast, and my appreciation on that is almost 300,000, right? But in the beginning, my cash flow wasn't much of anything, right? But I was playing the appreciation game. So I played the appreciation market when I was in DC, right? But then I went up the road to Baltimore and played the cash flow game, right? Where my appreciation might be 3 to 5% in a year if I'm lucky, right? If I bought it for 200,000, then 2-3 years down the road, it's probably worth 205,000. Right. If I didn't do anything to it, if I didn't do any forced appreciation, then my appreciation is like 3 to 5%. But my cash flow is crazy.
Right.
So if you're playing the cash flow game, you're looking at 2 years is a good ROI. And then anything after 2 years, it starts getting into how you bought it, any mistakes that you made. But if you can do 2 years or less, you got a solid deal.
All right, so listeners, this is not going directly to the retail buying the clothes and then put it in the barbershop and trying to sell it and get your money back 2 weeks later.
Yeah, nah.
You know what I'm saying?
Nah, you ain't making money overnight.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about financing. That's a big part of, because that's the foundation of everything. How do you establish getting the money?
Yeah. So it's funny, right? So with regard to money, everything that you learn about money growing up,
unlearn it.
Throw it out the window. Throw it out the window. When they talk about if you want to hide something from a black dude, black woman, hide it in a book. Right? If again, I speak in analogies. If we're playing Monopoly and you've never played Monopoly before and you don't know the rules of Monopoly, are you ever going to beat me?
Nope.
Because you don't know the rules.
Correct.
Right? So a lot of people get hung up on credit.
Right.
And to me, your credit score, you could write it in crayon, frame it and put it on the wall. And you looking at that pretty 700, 800 credit score. And I come along and I'm looking with you, admiring that 800 credit score. And I got a 500 credit score. But I got assets. Why? Because I took my framed credit score off the wall, cracked it open, and I started using it. I started using my credit. So my credit score goes up and down, up and down. I stopped looking at my credit score. I can't even tell you when the last time I looked at my credit score. My credit score has been 700, 800 down to 500, 600. But I'm still buying properties. I've never gotten denied for a property.
Because it's your assets.
I got to clap for that.
Because he paying bills on time. He's flipping it. He's blocking it.
Yeah, because
that's all they want to see.
Right. The bank just cares about the asset. Right. They care about they're going to get their money back. So I make sure I buy assets that are going to give me a return on my investment, and I make sure them bills get paid. Right. But my debt utilization, my income to debt utilization, like I said, it's out the water. Like on paper, I have no business owning what I own.
Correct.
Right. Okay. But all of those assets pay for themselves. Right. This game ain't about how much you make. It's about how much you keep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Right. So when it comes to financing, eventually you're going to run out of money. Right? I ran out of money about property number 6.
So what you mean by run out of money? I'm lost now because you said you was making money, you getting the ROIs. So
right. So with those ROIs, like I said, you're talking about 2-3 year, return on investments, right? So I'm making in the beginning, I was making $500 a month, right? Then you got to repair. Then I went down to 300. Then I made 600 a month, right? To come up with 20% down, it's going to take me a minute to do that, right? So I bought my first couple properties with a credit card, right? And then, I had some of my savings, put that in the street. And then eventually I ran out of down payments. I ran out of money for down payments.
Okay.
Right? Then I had to started getting into creative finance.
Mm-hmm.
Then I started hitting up family and friends and say, hey, look, this is what I know how to do. I've done 5 properties. This is my returns on investment. This is my track record. Mm-hmm. And came across a property. I think it's like 400,000, and I put 200,000 into it. I needed 100,000 cash money to get into the deal. Guess how much I had of that 100,000 in my bank?
Zero.
But I still went after it, and I raised 100,000 cash, and I gave away 20% returns. I didn't make a dime.
Exactly, but you had the asset.
But I had the asset.
Come on, player. Come on, CJ, you talking, bro.
But I had the asset, right? So I paid everyone back, and now that property is worth over $1 million.
Okay, so what you're saying is the asset is better to have? So what you're saying is the asset is sometimes better to have than money?
Yeah.
All the time. Most of the time.
You talking about you playing the long game, right? You playing the long game. Out of the entire time that I will own this property, I didn't make money for 2 years. So that's, let's say 15 years. That's 13 years.
Yeah, I see what you're saying
good
now.
money. And then when I sell it, right? I think about it. I own an asset worth over $1 million that I didn't use any of my money to buy.
Mm-hmm.
And then
so
because
you get into,
you didn't spend any of your money, so it ain't affect you.
Yo, my man over here that I'm with, yo, he had an angel investor that just threw 100 in him.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep,
And you know what he said? He be like, yo, you want me to pay you back? Nah, don't worry about that. Just keep give my interest.
Yeah. Because think about it. There's people out in the world that got money that don't know how to do what I do, but they want those returns.
Gosh.
Right? Real estate makes millionaires and billionaires. Real estate is the largest asset class of millionaires and billionaires today.
Facts.
Right? But everyone can't do it. Everyone doesn't have the risk tolerance to jump out there and do it. Right? But people have money from other ventures, and they'll come to you if you know how to do it. Like Chill said with his boy, gave him money and said, hey, run me my money back.
Yep.
And hey, I'll do that all day long. I'm investing in the asset without any of my own money, doing something I know I can do in my sleep.
Right.
Yo, 100 stacks. He gave him. It's because you know why? He said, well, one, he was a friend of the family, but he said, yo, I love your hustle. It was all just based off his hustle, man. Yep. And he's like, yo, I'll give you the bread. Because he said he was, trying to work it up to get the bread like you was just, getting from Peter, getting it from Paul. He was like, yo, I got this.
One thing I see about that is where you came from to where you are now. When you said, the world, you felt like when you were the lowest and you found that passion. And I think you being totally invested in the way you articulated to those people when you get to that point when you said when you trying to buy that property and you were out of money. But I think when you told your story and understand, they understood how much invested you were in it. So why not support it? You put the work in, is what they see.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It was legit hunger,
right?
That started what I do now, right? And I just kept going and going and going because I never wanted to go back to that feeling, right? But also one thing it taught me and gave me was the confidence that I could lose everything today, and I'll build it all back. Because I did it before.
Got you. So I know we've been talking about like the finance and everything. Is it any type of loans, or do you want to stay away from loans when it comes to trying to jump into the real estate game, or what is like, or is it, if it is, what type of loans should you go after, things like that?
Oh no, you definitely want to use loans. It's called leverage, right? Okay. And in real estate, you want to leverage, right?
OPM, right?
Yep. The simplest example I can give you is if you have $50,000, right? You can go buy one asset for $50,000, use all your cash, and you done, right? Or I can use $10,000 and buy 5 properties, right? And put loans on all of them.
Okay.
Right? And I can write it off on my taxes, right?
Okay.
Because you can't write off the mortgage interest on the property you paid off because ain't no mortgage interest.
Right.
You ain't got no mortgage. Right. So I win 2 ways. I get my cash flow and I write it off on taxes on the mortgage interest over several years. Right. So I leverage. I put, we throw our money in the street quick. As soon as it comes back, we looking for other assets to deploy it to. Because we leverage and use mortgages, use loans.
So it's good to. So I call that OPM. Other people money.
Yes.
Never use your own.
Never use your own.
Yeah. So I do that in my line of business. So
I had to stop a kid one time, man. He was trying to do an independent film. He said, yo, child, I'm gonna mortgage my house. I said, no, you not. What's wrong with you? I said, no, bro, you ain't doing that. Because he was just so I dug his passion.
Yeah, that's passion.
It was so bad, you know, and what he did was fly. He got the actors. If you wanted to be in the movie, you had to give them some money to get in the film. So basically he was able to fund the movie like that. But when he got towards the end and he wanted he wanted to mortgage his house. I was like, yo, bro, no, you ain't doing it.
Yeah.
You ain't got it like that, bro.
I'm glad he had you though.
Chill, yeah, bro. Man, I was like a little young bro from around my way, man. And he just wanted it that bad. But you know, because everybody think they Robert Townsend, you know, film, you know, finances moving on credit cards. Like CJ was talking about, man. Everybody ain't that lucky, bro.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. There's a lot of luck with it too. With that too.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
of course. But nah, man, that's bro. You just dropping some jewels here, bro. You dropping jewels. I'm just trying to think of something else that I wanted to talk about.
Well, when you think of that, when you think of that, Chill, like what are some of like the pros and cons, the do's and don'ts in this real estate game? Like what, like some of the, you know, some people try to get crafty and going into an industry they don't know nothing about. What are like some of the pros and cons that you can give somebody from a high level overview?
I mean, shoot, that list can be endless. I mean, James knows he learns them day in and day out, and he's 2 years in and still learning stuff. Right? It's definitely the biggest thing is don't bite off more than you can chew. Right? Don't let your greed get in the way of your blessings. Right? Learn slowly, take it slow. Have your eye on the prize, but just take it slow. Don't try to go out there hitting grand slams out the park when you just getting started. You know,
I kind of almost did that. We was in the last season of, I got on a T-shirt, Fear the Walking Dead, and they was moving from Texas to Savannah, Georgia. So I thought to myself, I could buy a house and rent it to production. So you know, once you rent it to Hollywood, you put a premium on it like nobody business. So I'm like, yo, if I get it, I can put it, you know, I know these actors like high-end stuff. So I started looking for a house, man. I went and got financing. I put up everything, my man. The house was like $1.9 million, and I was like, y'all talking down to 1.6. And yo, the crazy part, I was asking my man, I said, yo, what I qualify for? He said, what you want? You see, you good, you good. Your debt ratio is low and your income is high. And I'm just like, yo, but what stopped me was one of my crew members, Bob Johnson. Because I talked to him about it. I was like, yo, Bob, he said, listen. He said, when is the show going to end? I said, this is the last season. I'm just trying to get it, and I know I can get a hit on it. He was like, yeah, but he said, this ain't Hollywood. He said, once that show go, when you going to find somebody that's going to just jump out the window and buy a house for 1.9? Yeah. So now you stuck with a 1.9 mortgage. You got a point there.
In Savannah, Georgia.
In Savannah, Georgia.
Savannah, Georgia.
So with the insurance, everything, I was looking at like 10 to 12 a month.
So
I was going to tax them 20-25 a month. I was going to double that.
So the lesson, like, see that do you have people like Chill just said, Bob Johnson, and we know his success. Do you have people that you network with that could that you can run things by ideas by and say, man, does that work? Or, you know, is that important to build around you in this business? People that you could trust, give you advice.
That's important in life, right? That you've heard the saying, if you look in your circle and you have nobody to look up to, you're in the wrong circle. Right? You need to surround yourself with people that you look up to that you can learn from. Right? Yeah. And then when you get to the top of that circle, you know, I'm not saying discard that circle, always, you know, keep, you know, contact with those people, but you need to keep moving, right? Keep climbing that ladder. But to answer your question, yes. One of my favorite business books is Red Team. And it's a business book. It comes from the term devil's advocate, right? Red team is a military term. And my wife and I do it. My business partners do it. I'll come up with an idea, and I'll come to you, Kenny, and say, Kenny, tell me all the reasons why this is going to fail. Right? And then I go back to the lab and I start coming up with solutions for everything that you just came up with. Wow. Right? Then I'll go to James and say, hey, this is my idea. Tell me how I'm going to fail. He gives me ideas, and I go back to the lab and I come up with solutions for everything that he gave me. Right. So I done talked to 4 or 5, titans in my industry and be like, hey, this is what I want to do. This is the property. Tell me how I'm going to fail. And I start, finding out solutions, because what a lot of people go wrong is they don't red team their idea, no matter what it is, whether it's real estate or anything. They don't red team their idea. And then that initial shock of failure takes a long time, takes weeks, sometimes months to recover from. Yeah. Right?
Wow.
And then you start getting into solutions. Well, you done lost weeks, months. Yeah. Now you behind the 8 ball. You way behind the 8 ball.
So it's like a pre-SWOT analysis.
Right. So you done your red team. Now, boom, this pitfall came in. Brush it off. Why? Because Kenny told me that was going to happen. And I already had a solution for it. So boom, we keep them going. Boom, another hurdle, another pitfall. Nope. James told me that was going to happen. I got a solution for that. Right. So the more you red team your ideas, you start laying safety nets all around your business, to where when something happens, you're ready for it. You don't fall far. You might stumble. You might get shocked a little bit, but you already have a solution. You know where to pivot. And that's the biggest thing for new people getting in today. I still practice that. Lay safety nets all around. If something happens, where are you pivoting? Where are you going? Where's your exit plan?
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Man. Wow. That's interesting. Because what we have in Hollywood, what you just said, they have these groups of people, and they'll show a movie, and you watch the movie, then they got to write down what they like and what they didn't like.
Wow.
It's the same thing, man. Wow. When you go back to the lab and you re-edit.
Like, wow, I didn't know that. I thought y'all did a movie.
Nah. TV shows, everything. You just put it up, and they get a group of people that come in and watch it. And they know like what they like, don't like. Then they've had
the same thing.
Shows, they scratched the whole show.
What are your pain points? Did you like their management structure? Did you like the way they manage these contracts? Where did you feel like they lack innovation at? What are some of your challenges today digitally, like managing your databases and your, all your networks and stuff like that? What type of technology you have, or do you like it? These are the type of gathering intelligence. So we all, I guess, in all the different fields, we all like with the Hollywood.
Everything is relative.
Yeah, everything's relative. Yeah.
Wow, that's deep though. But it's just like, wow, I'm gonna get that book.
Yeah, absolutely.
I definitely want to get that book. That's one thing I'm trying to do a better job of reading, man, because I hate reading. I'm a math guy. I like
numbers. My God, James, they got audiobooks now, man. Just get an audiobook, man. Yeah.
I just love, but sometimes I don't feel like I get the same that I get out of audiobook, because like even though I can stop and rewind it, like reading the words, it allows me to go back. Like if they say a word, it allows me to look at that word, read it, look at it. If I don't know what it is, then I can go look it up and see what it is to see how it fits into that sentence. Mm-hmm. So that's why I like reading, but I'm more of a math guy. I love numbers. I love crunching numbers. That's just what I am. So, but I definitely want to get that book.
Reading is fundamental, James. Reading is fundamental.
I know, Kenny,
but see, that's why I'm on this podcast, but I know what I want to do, so I got to watch it. One time to watch this episode, because I got some of them Jews. CJ dropped I want to memorize them like a song.
It's refreshing, man. Like that's the purpose of this whole podcast, man. It's just. I mean, we joke here and there, man, but like I want to be able to bring people to this platform to bring the gems and information for anybody that's looking to be, not people that just look like me, but you know what I'm saying. Like I just want people
And I enjoy talking real estate. Anybody, anytime that hits me up saying, "Hey, can we talk about real estate?" I'm all for it, because my brand, I'm a huge proponent on generational wealth. Like, I guarantee you, none of us sat at our dinner table growing up as a kid talking about investing. Right.
No.
Talking about businesses and how to invest in the different asset classes, this, that, and the third. You know, our counterparts.
Can you imagine making money at 19?
Man, hey.
That nobody in my family has ever seen in their life.
Right. Like, like my counterparts were, came out of college with a house. Like, yo, how you buy a house? You mean, like, because they were taught at an early age how to buy real estate, right? Their mom and pops would buy them a house in their college town. They would buy them a 4-unit building. They would live in one. They would tell their kids to rent out the other 3 to their friends, and they would learn property management. But they already have an asset. Then they take the money out at graduation. They buy a second house, right? So they grew up talking about real estate. Right?
I can do you one better.
So I'm real big on our community. Like, God didn't bless me with the lessons that I've learned, the skills that I've garnered, to keep it to myself. Right? So I tell anyone that's willing to listen, right? I can take you to the well. I can't make you drink.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give you all the information that you need. There's more than one way to skin a cat. I'm going to tell you how I got here. But if you go a different route, but as long as you get there, I mean, it's life changing, right? I now understand what it means to be born on second base, to be born on third base, right? My kids are going to be good, and I'm hoping to instill on them the lessons that I've learned in my lifetime, and then they'll instill it in their kids in their lifetime. Then you start getting into estates and trusts and estate planning. We can go on a whole nother podcast.
I was gonna say like for us, go ahead, James. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Kenny. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, the biggest thing for us is fear and being, not having the information. So when you don't have the information, someone can say something that's really not that big of a deal, but it scares the shit out of you. And you don't want to.
But that's why I hate real estate gurus, right? Because a lot of real estate gurus, they'll say, "You want me to teach you real estate? 10,000."
Right.
I'm gonna give you a little bit, and then you want the rest? 20,000.
20,000, yeah.
Right. The whole time is, like, in our community, we just have 20,000.
Right.
Right. So I'm teaching you information that's public knowledge, right? So why am I going to teach you? Why am I going to cheat you and give you everything at once? Because you're not going to get it all. You're going to learn by doing. You're going to learn by slow walking it, right? I'm gonna bring you out in the field with me. I'm gonna show you what I see. I'm gonna show you how I'm thinking about an asset, and then eventually, hey, I'm ready to jump out there. Cool. I'm gonna hold your hand to help you pick up your own. Right? I'm not gonna charge you $10,000-$20,000 to do that, right? Because oftentimes we don't have that type of money. That's all we have to invest. And I get joy out of seeing you get your first investment property and changing your family's trajectory.
Like you said, man, I just think, like you said, it's just the way we've been wired and what we've been taught. Because what I was about to say, I remember when I purchased my first car, right? Purchased my first car off the lot. I was making enough money to pay for it, and I had the credit to get it at a good percentage. You know what I'm saying? And the first thing I did was go to my mother and ask her because she co-signed. Because that's all I knew, not because my mom told me that I need to co-sign, but that's what our community did. Like, they co-sign on cars because most of the time people's credit was messed up. But I didn't understand, and I didn't understand why that people was co-signing on stuff. I just was like, hey,
that was supposed to happen. Is what you?
Yeah, hey, mom, hey, my car is acting up. You know what I'm saying? I'm making a certain amount of money. I know I need a car. My credit is in the 700s. I need to purchase a car. And you know what I mean? Like it was two things that I learned in that. My mom would say, you don't need to co-sign, you make enough. And I'm thinking that I'm looking at my mom like, you're supposed to be helping me out. You my mother. You know what I'm saying? Like, why not co-sign? And then another thing I learned about it was, like you said, don't buy no more if you could chew. I went to the dealership. First thing they said was, oh man, you can get anything on this lot. You can get a Benz if you want. I didn't have Benz money, but I'm like, shoot. Like at first I was like, well, listen, if I can get the Benz at 22, I'd be one of the only people riding the Benz at 22, not knowing what it takes to keep that maintain that Benz.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Hey, funny story.
Wait till that maintenance hit you.
Yeah.
Hey, funny story. I was that dude that bought that Benz at 22, and hey, I still got that Benz because I know how much it took me to get that junk. Hey, I still got that junk. Once I paid that off, I was like, oh, I'm never getting another Benz.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Hey, give me the Honda.
But you know what was crazy though? Yo, see, I never purchased a car in my life personally.
Wow.
Because my business manager out the gate taught me to lease my cars through my company. All my cars is leased. I keep them for the life of the warranty. And every time since I was 19, I bought one vehicle, and that was a town and country van. And that was just for the family because I needed a van for them kids.
Hey,
all my other cars, everything been leased ever since. I never bought a car.
I'm gonna hit you to something even better. Your lease, give me one lease. What was your mileage cap on that lease?
I always get the maximum.
Maximum. Give me that maximum.
I think it's like 30,000 a year. Something like 35,000 a year.
So what I do is I do long-term rentals.
See? Ooh.
I don't. I use my American Express.
Yes, sir.
So I get the insurance on the American Express, so I don't have to pay for insurance. I pay for the rental, the monthly rental, and I don't have a mileage cap.
Exactly.
You have to on a lease. You have to turn the lease in. You pay a penalty. If I want a new car tomorrow, I'll take the car, take it in, and say, "Let me get that one," and ride right off.
Man, you just taught me something.
Yeah.
Long-term lease? I mean, long-term rental?
Long-term rental. My maintenance. If anything happens to the car, I take it in, be like, hey, give me another one.
That's even better.
Yeah.
all through my business.
I appreciate them gems, man. So speaking of that though, like,
but see, the reason why I do them, because I get these extravagant cars. Hard,
he can lay down in this car. I seen him do it.
It was the first episode, right?
Yeah, first episode. He was laying in this car on some real leather. I think that was cow. I don't know if that was cowhide or ostrich. But I know
but the thing is, they have rental car.
They got them now.
They got rental car companies that you can get the exotic cars. It's no different. And I don't have a cap on my mileage.
No, you're right. They have them now. They do have them. Yes.
Man, that's a good gem right there, man.
That's what I mean. Because I get to write off 2 cars anyway, so I write them off as transportation.
Yeah.
Work.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's a good thing because if you buy it personally, you can't write it off because of
But a car is not that people understand.
Hey,
not an asset. That's why these cats we gonna get now. If you getting an old school antique, or high above, but cars, they depreciate the moment they leave the lot.
You look on paper, on my paper, I don't own nothing.
I know you don't. Your trust on everything. You just run it. I ain't stupid. I know you work.
Know what? Yo, you know who told me that? 50 Cent. When people were suing 50 said, I don't have this stuff that they saying I have. I'm poor. He make like $75,000 salary.
I'm in a wheelchair, so I ain't got it.
I ain't got it.
Oh man.
You gotta learn the rules of the game.
Come on, man. Yo.
So now that we talking about this real estate, man, and it's definitely getting tempting. A couple questions I got, like 2 questions I got real quick. How do I find a profitable investment property? And then how do I determine the value of that investment property? If those questions you can ask.
Yeah. So the how, definitely don't go on the MLS.
What's MLS?
The multiple listing service.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So again, an analogy for you. Right. So the MLS is like the corner boy.
Okay.
Right. By the time that product gets to the corner boy, it had been stepped on so many times, ain't no profit in it.
Yeah.
Right. So you buy something from the corner boy, you can't turn around and sell it. Ain't no profit in that. Right. The MLS is the corner boy. Right.
Mm-hmm.
You got to go to the connect.
Right? It is.
You go to connect. Now there's profit in there. And how do you meet the connect? It's all about relationships. This game is all about relationships. Knowing who has the product.
I'm finna throw my iPad because this plan is in my head like crazy, bro. DJ, listen, I got a house party, right? Because of a relationship with the Hudlin brothers.
Yeah.
I didn't audition for this movie. They wrote this movie about me because they wanted us to do the movie. After house party pop, I started. The Law and Order came looking for me. I did Law and Order, right? The lady was like, "Yo, you know what? I got a friend writing a screenplay. I think you need to go meet him." She made the phone call. Boom. Most of my shows that I did or movies is reoccurring customers.
Yep.
I did a movie called Home Fries with this guy Dean Parasite. He put me in a movie called Galaxy Quest. I did a movie called 10 Things I Hate About You with this guy. Me and Martin ended up directing the movie with me and Martin in Thin Line Between Love and Hate. Relationships, bro.
Yep. It's all about relationships.
Yeah.
Bro,
Right, so
most of my job is relationships.
So I give you a scenario, right? So let's say the 4 of us, right? I buy a lot of real estate, but I can't buy all the real estate, right? Just based on timing, based on my liquidity, I can't buy everything. So I get a deal, and I'm like, yo, I ain't got it right now. Hey, Kenny, you looking for something? Cool. Kenny, take it, right? Do the same thing for James. You chill the same thing, right?
Yes, sir. I'm ready.
You ain't taking money out my pocket, right? Because I can't do it at that given moment, so I give it to you, right? Kenny, you come across a deal that you can't do. Who's the first person you're going to call about it?
You.
Exactly, right? So I'm like, oh, cool. Yeah, I'll take that, right? So it's all about who you know, right? Is blessing others and good relationships, and winners want to be around winners, right?
Mm-hmm.
People want to be around winners. So if you start producing, you don't have to go look for deals, right? So these wholesalers, they knock on my door and say, hey, I got this. Hey, I got this, right? Like the dude at the barbershop with the little cakes, right?
Yeah.
They coming to me saying, hey, I got this, and I'll be like, I'll take that one, right? But it's all about relationships. James met one of my connects at one of my birthday parties, right? And he got me into it, started getting me some good deals, started winning off those deals, and my network just started growing and growing and growing from there. And from one of my first early on relationships is how I met my partner. And now it just grows and grows. And I'm sitting in rooms that, 10, 15 years ago, I'm like, yo, I ain't never going to make it to that room.
Yeah, I can attest to this too. He put me in a situation, it's funny, and then not to go too far off, but health insurance, life insurance, right? So pretty much I met one of Charlie's or CJ's life insurance partners. I was looking at life insurance. Something came in the mail from Navy Federal, said, hey, for $50 or $70, you get $100,000 in life insurance, this, that, and the third. I called CJ. Hey, CJ, something, this, that, and the third, what I need to do, what you think about this life and everything like that, life insurance. CJ said, give me a second. I'm going to send you somebody's number. do this, do that, and the third. Get on the phone with this guy. Hey, what's going on? CJ told me you're looking to get some health insurance. I'm like, yeah. He said, all right, cool. He started talking big numbers. Because at first I told CJ, I said, CJ, I don't make no money like you do. I can't afford what he about to tell me. Lie to you not. I'm not gonna say my numbers because I don't want one of y'all to try to off me.
Look at you.
But the one person that lives closest to me is Kenny, so I won't tell him my numbers. But for that same $50 a month, I have gotten way more than what Navy Federal was trying to charge me, and it was all because of relationships.
Just relationships,
like what he's talking about, and actually listening to understanding what he was saying and paying attention. Because, like you said, when you hear numbers, you feel like you can't do it. Oh, that's too much. I ain't doing that. I can't make that. I already know. Like CJ told me, hear him out. Trust me, it'll work out in your favor.
See, when you get to this level, your friends are your business partners, right? So when we sitting there watching the football game, we talking business at the same time.
That's me and my pops. That's me and my pops all day.
Yeah, we talking business at the same time. We go to play golf, go chill out, have some drinks. We talking business, right? It's all. Oh, you want to do this? I need to put you in contact with my man. Right? Oh, hey, I'm gonna put you in contact with this person. You need to talk to him about this. So to answer your question is, how do you find the deals? Relationships. Don't go looking for the deals. Go looking for the relationships. Those deals will come to you.
The deals will come, baby. Come on. That talk, CJ.
Yeah, man.
That talk. The deals will come to you.
Yes.
Fact. Wow.
That's definitely some gems right there. Definitely some gems. The importance of networking. Man, before we get out of here, man, I don't want to keep you too long, man. Like, some of the, like, and this is probably my last question. Picking it, like, so listen, like picking and choosing where you buy properties, invest properties, and things like that. Demographics are different. Like, you deal with, certain tenants and things like that. Like, how does someone that's looking to buy a property and you don't want those horror stories of dealing with tenants who don't pay their rent and things like that, and the issues that come with that. Like, what are some gems that you can give to some people?
First and foremost, there's money in the hood.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I try to.
There's money in the hood, so don't shy away from those horror story kind of investing scenarios. They're gonna come whether you invest in the A class or C class, right? Because you're dealing with two different headaches, right? You invest in the hood, you're dealing with irrational thoughts, uneducated individuals that will try to scam the system, and then on the flip side of that coin, you invest in the A class neighborhood, you're dealing with entitlement, thinking you owe them something, right? Even though they renting from you, oh, you need to give them this, then give them that, right? So you're going to have horror stories regardless, no matter where you invest, right? So don't think about the headaches. Think about the return that you're looking for, right? Also, think about your strengths. I had a law enforcement background, right? So I knew how to diffuse situations. I knew, I worked in the hood. So working in those C-class neighborhoods, I was good with, because I've dealt with those individuals being in law enforcement. And now I invest in A-class as well, but I still have some C-class in my portfolio. So to answer your question, the where, your bank account's going to tell you where.
Gotcha.
Right? Those A-class properties, they're $1 million assets. Right?
Yo, this is what I was going to do. I'm calling my man now, but I don't know if it's going to work. Yo, they selling property in Ireland. You heard about that?
Yeah.
Then you could buy this property in Ireland. They giving you $92,000 to fix the house up, but you got to live in it for 1 year. But I found out they were really only offering to people from Ireland. You had to be what I was going to do, I was going to get it, and I was going to go over there and shoot a documentary, living off the grid while we fixing this house up, bro.
Yep. Oh, damn.
That'd have been
that's different too. Like, I never seen a
You
doc
would
like
expect.
that.
Yeah.
And
That's
I
what
know that
yeah.
one time, probably about 5 years ago, they was doing the same thing in Chicago. They was selling like they call it Chirac, of course. They was selling property in the hood for like $30,000.
My brother Lloyd, he lives in Detroit. He bought a house for $1. And all he had to do was
properties.
fix it up.
Yeah,
And
Detroit was
he
doing
didn't
dollar
do it.
properties.
They give you the money to fix it up. $1, $1.
So,
God doing it in Newark now. You know that, right?
Yeah.
They doing it in Newark.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I was
it's,
just
so you look at your bank account's going to tell you where to invest.
Okay.
Right? And your resources are going to tell you where to invest. Right? So what I mean by resources is I have an infrastructure, right? I have an expansive network of other real estate investors in other cities, right? So I can invest in New York because I have an infrastructure in New York, right? Where if I didn't have an infrastructure in New York, then I might not invest in New York.
Absolutely.
Right? So if you have a family member or a close friend that can go and touch that property, hey, I need you to go check on this property for me, see what's going on. Then if the numbers are good, you can invest thousands of miles away. But if you don't have that infrastructure, you don't have those resources in that city, then don't jump out there.
So I did that before, right? In my business, I bid it on a contract in Massachusetts. I didn't have no infrastructure, but I hired somebody and never sat down with them in person, but I interviewed them virtually. And it was doing some technical writing. And probably like a month into the contract, a week went by and my customer called me and said, "Hey, where's such and such?" And I said, "What you mean?" She hasn't been here in a week. So I got on the phone. I'm still looking for her. So,
exactly.
Jesus Christ, real thing.
But that was a lesson learned, though.
That's a lesson learned, and that was in my earlier years into the game. So it's like now, I have to physically. I will never bid on a contract outside this area, unless I have someone that can go put eyes and physically be there.
But see, in real estate, it's a little different, right? So real estate, it's very cookie cutter, right? 1 + 1 is always going to equal 2, no matter where you go, right? So if you learn how to invest in your city, and hopefully you might live in a city that is conducive to, smaller time investors, as opposed to like living in California, right? You're going to have to pay a grip to get into the real estate investor game, right? But if you live in Alabama or you live in Ohio, right, like or nearby, you can get in. The barrier of entry is a lot lower, right? But once you start understanding how the formulas work, how the numbers work, right, what puzzle pieces you need to turn a property into an asset, then all I need to do is go to Houston and say, hey, I need a plumber, I need an HVAC guy, I need an electrician, I need this person, that person, I need a tenant placement person, and then I start interviewing for those, people. Right? And then I know enough to know when shit start going left. And then, all right, I need to replace this puzzle piece. And it's going to take me a little bit of time. Like, all right, you're performing good. Cool, I'll keep you. You don't return my calls fast enough. So I'll get rid of you. I'm going to look for another electrician. Right? All right, cool. All right, this plumber, your prices are too high. Let me try somebody else. Right? And then eventually, I put a dream team together. And boom, I got my infrastructure. I already know how to build. I already know the numbers. Then you can start investing somewhere else. So your infrastructure is going to dictate where you buy and how you buy, and your bank account is going to dictate where you buy and how you buy.
Go ahead, Jay.
You said something about the hood, right? And when we talk about the hood, we deal with a lot of like you said, I don't want to say uneducated, but a different type of education.
Different mentality.
Different type of education, different mentality. So how do you deal with the tenants that doesn't pay their rent on time or always come up short, or
All right, so I'm gonna give you a real gem. I ain't give you too much on it.
Yeah, see, they don't go to jail. See, they
Hey,
only see
nah,
jail.
nah, 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 nah. I'm gonna give you a real gem, but
I see where you
I
going,
ain't, I ain't
chill.
give you, I ain't give you too much on it. There's a little proprietary information in there, right? But remember, I told you about how I I scatter safety nets all around, right? So I have a relationship with a surety bond company. What that does is that insures my rents. So if Chill lives in one of my properties and he pays $1,000 a month in rent and he stays January, February, March, and then April he decides he don't want to pay no more, right? And it takes me 6 months to get him out, Chill owes me $6,000. I got to take him to small claims court to get that 6,000. Then my lawyers and their private investigators need to go find Chill. Right? He's ducking me. Right? He's taking jobs under the table. He's not showing up anywhere on the grid. Right? So it might take me 5-6 years to find Chill to get my 6,000 back. Not with the relationship that I have. I file my claim. They pay me $6,000, and they go after Chill.
Go after Shell.
Man, thank you. Clapping my hand right there, man.
I appreciate that, Jim, bro.
Wait, what is it called again?
A surety bond.
A surety bond.
So my entire portfolio, I'm at 100% covered because I don't accept anybody that I can't get a surety bond on, or is Section 8 where my money's guaranteed. So I sleep like a baby. Hey, you don't want to pay me? No problem.
Put the claim in.
No problem.
Wow.
I'm gonna get mine. Don't worry. I'm gonna get mine. It might take me 6 months to get you out of there, but I'm getting my money. I mean, I'm getting 10,000 a clip, 6,000 a clip, depending on what that rent amount is.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But again, it's all about mitigating my risk. I have this large portfolio, and if half the portfolio stop paying, hey, the mortgage company's gonna start looking at me, start looking for me. So I figured a way to mitigate my risk to make sure my rental, my lease rents are covered.
Gotcha.
So that's how I deal with them. I don't worry about sleepless nights because they don't want to pay the rent.
Let me ask you this: do you start an LLC for every house you buy?
Yes. Yep. Okay. Yep. I got multiple LLCs, and they're super generic. If it's 123 Main Street, it's Main Street Holdings LLC. If it's on Tree Street.
This is some jewel this cat dropped on me, man. He said,
"Hey, listen,
start a relationship with a bank. Basically, go in there and open up a bank account with your LLC. Make $100. That's starting a relationship with the bank. So, but if you got a good credit record, you can borrow money with that LLC, and a good amount of it too. And the thing about it is, what he said he did, he went to one because all different banks use different trade lines. One might just use TransUnion, the other one might use Equifax, the other one might use the other one. And he said, "Yo," so he go hit one bank, start another bank, hit the next bank. He said, "Yo," for he knew he's a 450,000. But
you talking about like what Kenny said was OPM, right? Other people's money.
Other people's money.
Those trade
lines. But he said, but the key is you got to pay your loans. And on top of that, said, "Yo, you got to have a plan of what you're gonna do with this bread." So the finances is there, but I'm telling you right now, dog. Yo, let me tell you, man. I sit here and think about it. If I had my head, or like you said, somebody asked Busta Rhymes' moms, she said him lovely out the gate. She bought corporate buildings back 30-something years ago.
Wow.
Busta mom, because she was a realtor. So when he started making that bread, she was taking it. And she was buying buildings. She was buying stuff and buying. For him.
Dang.
On top of the money he made a lot. The moms made a lot of good real estate.
Art and real estate.
Yeah. That explains that big ass chain he got.
That's what he talked about. He was like, yo, he talked about that. Yeah. But I'm saying, man, I'm like, I'll be thinking about, me and my brother be talking about that because he was out in LA with me. I said, dude, think about it. I said, yo, dog, with Kenny, not Kenny, Jay. You want to hit? Let me tell you my vehicle story. Bro, imagine I'm doing Veronica's Closet. I'm rocking and rolling. I wanted the S500. And they remember the new Jeep Mercedes they came out with a little small Jeep they came out with. Mm-hmm. It was a little small box one. So I needed something for my wife to drive the kids around. So I wanted the S500 and I wanted that Mercedes Jeep for my wife. Bro, how about they delivered them at the same time to the set? But hold up, it don't stop there, bro. I ain't signed a piece of paper yet. My business manager, because he was, he had a private attorney, but dog, they delivered both cars at the same time.
Dang.
So just imagine that's what you call the credit was fired. My income was popping. I should have been buying. I never bought a house in LA. I should have bought it. I would have made money even if I bought a house. But the reason why, because I had a rapper's mentality. I always thought temporary. I'm always gonna be here. I always thought I'm gonna be in LA temporary. Mm-hmm. When I got the TV show, I was like, I used to fly home every weekend because I didn't never think I'm gonna be in LA. Mm-hmm. I was there for 10 years, bro. I could have bought 10. I could have bought
a house a year.
Man, man,
you could have slow walked it one house a year.
What?
You're getting crazy.
You'd have been killing shit. You'd have killed. A house a year, LA, right now, 2023.
Come on, dog.
Yeah.
That's 30 years back, bro. I was hitting the bread. I was hitting the bread, bro. And my business manager, he killed the game one time. He filled out an application for an American Express card in his office in Manhattan. I filled out one in Long Island at my address in the inner city. Yo, dog, how about I got the card and a denied letter at the same time? I got the card and a denied letter about the same week.
Hey,
that dude, bro, like, yo, he said,
at the end of the day, everything he explaining, it comes back to what we talked about in the very beginning of this episode. You don't know what you don't know.
You don't know what you don't know.
And that's the name of the show. I already wrote it down. You don't know what you don't know.
You don't know. So I got a couple questions before we end up. You know, man, we want to let you go because we know we got to get back to your life and all the busy stuff you're doing, all the real estate you're doing. But one thing I do want to ask is, do you have real estate? I know you got real estate domestic, but do you have international real estate as well?
I don't. That's on my list to do. With regard to Airbnbs and vacation rentals, because with the international, just vacation rentals, period, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of people think you have to have all this money, you got to have a high net worth to buy international real estate or vacation rentals. You don't. You just need to have enough to buy one. And you don't even have to do it by yourself. The four of us can put our money together and buy that one. The minute you buy that one, it pays for itself, right? And then you get another one, right? And then that pays for itself. Now you got a property on the West Coast. You got a property in France. You got a property in the Caribbean that someone else is paying for.
Yeah.
Right? And then you essentially, like, let's say the four of us wanted to do it and buy something in the Bahamas. We would create essentially a what do you call those? When they call you to come to the
I know what you're talking about. Like they get
timeshare.
Timeshare,
right?
Yeah.
So essentially, we would create our own timeshare, right? And say, I get a week in the spring, you get a week in the fall, you get a week in the summer, and then we rotate next year. But we own the asset, right? And then someone else is paying for it.
This dude we get ready to fly to Cayman Island. He got a partner out there, dog. He had inherited the land from his grandmother, and then he just spread it out. And he's already taken. You got to pay him now for the house later, because everybody is trying to get in it. He done cut the inroad, everything. So I mean, but I own the whole. We own the whole key in Belize. Like the whole island is ours.
Nice.
We ain't putting it on it yet, because what we trying to do, we trying to build it up and get a contract with the cruise ships, so they can come there like that little beach in the Bahamas. What's that called? What's that?
St. Kitts, you said?
It's a beach that go on a cruise and you just get off and there ain't nothing there really.
Okay.
I forgot the name of it, but that's that bait. But we gonna have cabanas and bars and drinks and everything else. So we got the whole.
I ain't gonna say his name, but that's the dude I spoke to.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Gotcha.
Yeah, there's money in international real estate. You just have to, you gotta know where the sharks are, and again, it comes down to relationships.
Well, I'm gonna say this too, CJ. When you think about it, man, handicap accessibility is very important, and I'm telling you, the people in the disabled community got money, bro. If you set it up right, they coming, bro.
Oh yeah,
they coming. I got a whole house I'm building in Belize right now. 2 bedrooms, both
handicap accessible
on both sides, laid out. And now I'm trying to get a vehicle, everything. I got dudes out there with boats. They take me fishing. They're like, yo, chill. You say anybody, man. I take them. Don't worry about it. We'll get them on the boat. So I'm gonna get it with the military. Oh, bro, watch. That one house gonna build 10 of them.
Yeah.
Oh,
and that's how I plan on doing it, is just finding somebody that's done it before or is doing it now, right? That it mitigates my risk, right? Of swimming with the sharks, right? Because no matter how long you've been in this industry, still sharks in the water.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, facts.
Still sharks in the water, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm no more susceptible or less susceptible than the three of you, right? I got taken recently. I got taken by a contractor, right? Got taken by a contractor for, I think it was like $70,000, right? And I went to him and I said, look, I know you got me for 70. I'm not even gonna ask for it back, right? But you're gonna get it. You're gonna give it back to me in labor, right? And he doubled down and was like, "Nah, I ain't take it." It's like, all right. So I gave him another chance. And you heard that saying, "You pick the hill you're gonna die on." He picked the hill he was gonna die on, and I again mitigated my risk. I used a credit card for every payment that I made to him. I reversed $300,000. So 70,000 turned into 300,000. And I ain't even and I told him I'm not even asking for the 70,000.
Money back, right?
Just give it to me in labor. I'm not eating 70. Right? So we ain't even got to do it on this project. We can do it on another project. But you're gonna give me 70,000 worth of something. And he didn't take it. So I was like, all right. So I reversed $300,000 worth of charges. So I'm no less
$230,000 back in the bank.
Hey, right back in the bank.
Damn, man.
And what you think I did with that? Bought more
property.
Yo, off of his labor though, because he didn't do the work.
Labor. Right? So I'm no less susceptible than to sharks than y'all are. It's about just mitigating your risk and keeping your head on the swivel.
Cool. Man, cool.
Wow.
This next segment we going into is the victory lap. And in the victory lap, we leave it up to either of us, or because you're here today, and the show is about you and the gems you dropping, man. Victory lap is whatever you can lead the people, man. People that's looking into getting into the world, people that's already in the world, that's that's going through a storm right now or things like that? What's a gem that you can drop for them? That you will lay out for them.
You mean me?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
You CJ. Yeah, my bad.
The biggest thing is super simple. It's like a storm, right? The sun is always gonna shine another day, right? So don't get too down and discouraged and wallow in how cloudy it is or how hard it's raining, right? Just keep your head down, keep working to make it out that storm, and that sun's gonna shine again. I'm an example of it. I went through that storm, and it rocked my entire life, and it's a testimony to me now, to where I am today. And if a storm or when a storm, because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when another storm comes, just gonna keep my head down and wait till that sun comes up. So if you going through something, whether it's professionally, personally, just keep your head down and learn the lessons that you're supposed to learn during those trials and tribulations, and use it to fuel you for the next time.
Wow. Yeah, storms are only for a moment, but they go away. That sun always out. You know what I'm saying? That's
But remember, it's gonna be another storm.
Yeah. Dope, man. Hey, man, CJ, man. Thanks for being a part of the Pit Stop, man. Definitely want to have you back, man. Just to keep dropping gems, man, as we talk about real estate. James, man, thanks for putting this together, man, for real.
Oh man, I appreciate CJ, man. Like I said, man, as you know, like one thing that I do love about my brother, man, he definitely employs me, but he calls me a partner. That means a lot to me, man. Like I said, I've done a lot of things in the Able Capital globe, and it's a lot, man. This is the big business, man. So I want to, first of all, one thing we don't do enough is give flowers to the people while they're living. So first of all, Chuck, man, let me give you your flowers, man. I watch you, get it out the mud. You know what I mean? Start from the bottom. When you started as in law enforcement, I watch you get out the mud there to get to where you was, hit your pinnacle, hit your peak, and then crash and burn. Not to your fault, but turn around and then build another brand, like Hov say. MF said they made Hov. Hov said, okay, so make another Hov. You know what I'm saying? Like you made another CJ, man, and now you're the founder and CEO of Able Capital. You allowed me to be a part of the team, man, and I appreciate it. I'm enjoying the ride. I'm learning a lot of it, a lot of things. Pause, because some people that's watching the show, they fun like that. But listen, I'm enjoying it. It's good. It's fun. Man, and I just want to give you your flowers, man. I watch you bloom. I watch you grow. I watch you become, like I tell you, I always call you a mogul because I speak that into existence. I think words are powerful. So I speak that into existence, man. And thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule, because I know your schedule, man, and jumping on it. Jumping on the pod, man. And thank you guys, man, Kenny and Chill, for allowing me to, bring this gentleman on here, man. Dropping some gems and putting people in positions to win, man. That's the biggest thing for me, man. That's what we want to use this Pit Stop podcast for, is to put people in position to win. And you're definitely doing that, man. You said you're creating generational wealth for your family, but you don't know how many people you're employing that you're doing the same thing for.
I appreciate it. I definitely appreciate you guys for having me on. I always tell people I'm not here because I'm the smartest. I'm not here because I'm the biggest, because I'm the fastest. I'm here because I'm gonna outwork you. Like there's you work 5 hours, I'm gonna work 7.
Mm-hmm.
You work 10, I'm gonna work 12. Right? And that's what the world rewards, is hard work. So it doesn't matter what school you went to, what school you graduated to, what family you came from. You work hard and do right by people, you'll make it.
There we go.
Real talk.
There we go.
You always when you say things, one thing you're doing, it's not only you teaching, but you're giving confirmation. You're giving me a mad confirmation on the stuff that you were saying. And like you said about the storm, I remember someone once said, yo, Anybody can weather the storm, but can you dance in the eye of a hurricane?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Yep.
Anybody can weather a storm, but can you dance in the eye of a hurricane?
Yep. Yeah.
It's all about how you look at life and how you look at adversity, right? Because the crux of what that's saying is essentially, I'm in adversity. Thank you for putting me in adversity, because I'm going to come out with so many lessons out of this.
Yes, that's
I'm
what's
gonna
about.
come so far ahead when I come out this storm. So you thankful for the adversity,
Man.
because it's sharpening that iron.
Yeah. I took the word loss out of my vocabulary and I just called it a lesson.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's all it is.
It is
just a lesson.
Yeah, and I'm in the process of trying to take sacrifice out and just saying whatever you want to put your energy into.
Yeah,
bro.
Yeah, man. Hey, Chuck, man, I thank you, man. Like I said, this is another episode of Pitt Stop Podcast. I had to take the cape off and put the shirt and tie on. So call me Kenny Kent. We got
oh my God, bro! Like listen, we had a great show until you went left, bro. Like, listen.
Come on, man. Let me finish, man. So we got the star, Jay Ruffin. You know what I mean? And then we got the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Daryl Chill Mitchell, man. Hey,
Yo,
man.
CJ, man, it's an honor and a pleasure to meet you, bro. And I can't wait to buy property through you, bro.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Hey, it's the Pitt Stop Podcast. We out.